What do you want to be when you grow up? Now, this is a question I'm sure you've heard many times in your life. I'm sure you've actually asked this question many times in your life. But without realizing it, it's actually quite a dangerous question to ask. What do you want to do when you grow up? Think about it. Think about what you're really asking. A far more effective and a far more engaging question to ask kids and to ask other people is, who do you want to be when you grow up? Not what do you want to be? And yet we as society think that what you're going to be is more important. What job you're going to have, what role you're going to have in society is more important than the person you're going to be. And it's true, it's played out time and time again. Think about when you go to a party, you go to a barbecue and you meet a new person, someone you've never met before. The first thing you ask them, or one of the very first things you ask them, is, what do you do? What's your job? As though that makes it easier to define them. As though that will give you a true sense of who they are, but it won't. These two questions are dangerous questions. They're questions that limit your worldview, that put the shutters on, that fail and prevent you from seeing the world as it truly is and missing out on so much. And so today in this video, I want to share with you some ways that you can get around this, some ways that you can think about how you engage with others and how you design your own life so that you're proud of who you are, so you can craft and create the person that you want to be, who you want to be. My name's Damien, and these are my videos about how I'm transforming my life. And I want to help you to transform your life, to design the life that you want to live. I've spent more than 20 years transforming brands all around the world. And now I want to use the techniques and the tricks and the strategies that I used on those brands on people to help you transform your life, to help you connect with what really matters to you. Because there's so many wonderful experiences out there, and I want you all to have them in your life. So thank you for watching along with these videos. And let's get into today's video and learn a little bit more around these questions and why you shouldn't just ask them without thinking. Who you are and what you do are not the same thing. This sounds really obvious, but what happens and what I've seen with brands time and time again is that those two things become very closely linked within a business. And one of the first things I do whenever I'm engaged to come in and help transform a business is to separate those two things out. Who you are and who a brand is its core essence, the real fundamental truth, who you are. The what you do is the physical output, the action, the tasks, the products, the services, whatever the business actually does. But what happens over time is that they become closely linked. And because the what you do, those everyday tasks, those products, those outputs are what most people focus on day after day, it becomes too easy to think that that's the whole business. So that's why they start to think of the who you are and the what you do as being close together. But you need to separate them out. The who you are is core to who you are as a business, and that will remain consistent throughout the whole life of the business. But the what you do can change, and this is a really important lesson that I often teach to executives. Become solid, become firm on who you are, but remain open that the what you do can change. Now, a really great example of a business that's done this super effectively is Lego. If you look at Lego 10, 15 years ago, they weren't going too well because those two things had become very tightly linked. And their production of Lego bricks had become the core soul of the business. But then a new CEO came in and there was obviously work done to separate out those two things. And if you look at the who they are, what they actually do in terms of the essence of their business is that they make play fun. That's who they are. They exist to make play fun. And the what they do then starts to evolve from there. And you can see it in terms of they obviously make bricks, then they make theme parks, and they make movies, and they make all of these other experiences and assets and products and services and 1,001 different things, all related to making play fun. So you can see by separating out those two things and being sure about who they are, they're able to create all these other things. They create a far bigger world, a far bigger ecosystem around themselves. And that's obviously impacted the success of their business. If you look at any sort of graph that charts their growth, you will see this spike and then this consistent growth as a result of the separation out of these two things. And it's the same with your life. Whenever I work with a coaching client, one of the first things we work on, exactly the same as I do with brands, is separating out these two things. Who are you? What do you want to do with your life? What do you do day in, day out? Because your job does not define you. Let me show you something on paper here. Let me explain to you a little bit more around the problems that come with living this life of these two things becoming very closely coupled. What tends to happen with clients that I meet where they've got the two factors, the who you are and the what you do, being very closely linked in their life, is you get into what I call the job title trap. So you get into this question of who are you? The question you get asked all the time at barbecues. And then you define yourself by I'm an accountant, I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, whatever it is, as though that defines who you are. And it becomes a vicious cycle. Time and time again, people start to go through the same motions of believing this is who they are because it's what they do. But we don't actually spend enough time on creating the who. And it's really important, if you want to create the life that you want, if you want to redesign your life and actually create the life that you want, that you take the time to focus on who you are and really learning and meeting the person that you are. Now, I know that sounds really funny to say it like that, but it's true. You'd be surprised about how many people I meet, successful people who have everything on paper that you think you would want, but who don't know who they are. It's a really important lesson and a really important program that you can go through. And I'll take you through 3 of the steps now so that you can start taking these active steps in your own life to re-meet yourself, introduce yourself, learn to know yourself again, learn to know who you are. First thing I want you to do is what I call an adjective audit. I want you to go through your life and think of as many adjectives as you can to describe yourself. The way that you feel about yourself, the way that other people might describe you. Write as many of those down as you can. Take the time. There's no rush here. Write down as many as you can. There's just one rule. There's no nouns. No writing father, friend, all of those kind of things. Just adjectives. And once you've written down the list, I want you to pick 3, maybe 4 of these adjectives that feel right for you. That feel that right now, this is who you are. Knowing that this is not a finite answer, you can come back and change these at any time. But for right now in your life, where you're at, do these feel right for you? These 3 or 4 that you've picked? Or do you feel like these are the ones that you want to start moving towards in the creation of your life? These are going to become the pillars around which we're going to build this next chapter of your life. We're going to build this brand you. So pick them, reflect on them, think about what they mean to you. And this is the first step that we're going to go through. The second step is we're going to write out a character profile for you, because who equals character? A what is something else entirely, but a who is a character. So we're going to draw out a persona for yourself. I want you to journal and write down a biography for you, using those adjectives. Someone that you want to be, someone that you want to create, a life that you want to create. But try and be as accurate as you possibly can. Now, no one else has to see this. This is just for you. But I want you to create this persona like it is a third person, like it is someone else. Because it's sometimes useful to step back from our life, to gain that outside perspective and to look at the person that we want to become, because then we might be able to see some of the challenges that we're going to face to get there. And then if we can do that, we can address the ways to reach that person, to connect with them, and to ultimately bring them into our lives so that we can connect with them and become them. The third thing is to start embodying this new life, embodying the who. And you do this through rituals. Now, I've said it before that rituals are not about incense. They're about intention. They're about re-entering your life with intention. So when you have created this character and you've created the personas and you know these adjectives that define this person, you'll start to identify possible rituals that will allow you to connect and then reconnect with this person every single day. Now, they could be just small rituals that you do in the morning, maybe reflections at the end of the day, something that you start the day with. But it's important to take the time to remind yourself of this process, to reconnect with those things, to bring them back into your life. Because life will speed up. Things will get in the way. Distractions will come calling. The society and the way that we live will try and pull you back to where you were. But we want to start moving in a new direction. So we have to bring in this practice. We have to be intentful and re-enter our lives in a much more focused way. Take these steps. Make the time for these rituals. You're going to have to do it. It's not difficult. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's not a huge output. But the results and the things that it's going to bring back into your life can be amazing. They can truly transform your life. I know it might sound strange thinking it and hearing this, but it's the truth. If you carve out and set aside the time to reconnect with this person every single day, to meet them again, to bring them in, to realize that this is you, to look into this mirror that you're creating and realize that this is the person that you want to become, you start to create that core who you are. And then you can see whether what you do actually aligns with that. Maybe you need to be doing something else in your life. But once you've got those two things separated out and you're not defined by your job title, you're not falling into that job title trap, you start to separate out that who you are from the what you do. You will start to have a much more deeper connection with yourself, a much more deeper relationship with yourself. And then once you've started to do that, you'll start to see all these new opportunities to build upon it, to create more rituals, to create more moments of connection, to create more moments to know who you are. Now I realize that again, that this sounds funny. You're you, you know you, but do you really? Do you really take the time to know you? Because I would argue that for most of us, the answer to that question is no. We don't take the time to meet the most important person in our life. So that's my challenge for you this week. Take the time, make the time. These 3 steps are pretty straightforward and they will get you started. And I've got lots of other videos that you can see below that can help you to take further steps down this journey to redesign your life. So thank you for taking the time today. I hope you actively take these steps to meet yourself and that you enjoy this new relationship that you're about to embark on. I promise you it will be one of the richest and most rewarding ones you ever have in your life. But thank you for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you again next time.